As much as I talk about what's going on, I get a lot of people that tell me, oh, what can I do about it? What I do is a start. I talk about it. I raise awareness of everything, regardless if they think I'm stupid or naive or crazy. I come on here, I post these videos, and I speak my mind on what I see, the perception that I have. I am not blind. I worry about normal stuff, roof over my head and everything, but I am awake in the sense that I see everything that goes on around me. I am not focused totally on television, and I do read articles, and I keep my ears open, my ears and my eyes open about everything. I see people with no common sense and stupid people that don't think straight. I'm finding a lot of it is people that can't think outside the box. They will fight you tooth and nail to keep everything in their box. And, you know, you got to get out there, and the more and more people that speak the truth, you say, what can I do about it? Well, all you got to do is see it, know what's going on, and speak about it, and it becomes like a disease. But it's not a disease. It's something that we want to happen, the spread of truth, and we want everybody to see what's going on and what they're doing and why they're doing it. And once everybody knows and speaks out about it, then things may start to change. But if you constantly live in ignorance, then you're never going to know, and you're going to keep, making the money, working the overtime, paying the bills, getting new furniture, getting a new television, watching the game, partying, drinking. Having fun is, when you see what's coming, then when you have fun because you know that there may come a day where you won't be able to do it. It's outlawed. It's like cigarettes. This republic that was created for us that we are losing, and they've turned it into a democracy almost overnight where majority rules. You forget what a republic is. And we were meant to be a republic, and you stupid people have turned it into a democracy because you let them. Here's an example. I smoke. I choose to smoke. When I buy a cigarette, it's for me. I'm not jamming it in somebody's mouth and lighting it and making them smoke it. It's me. I'm putting it in my mouth and I'm smoking it. This affects me. This is my right. This is my right to smoke. When I party and I drink, it's my right to drink. Now, what majority rule does in a democracy is when you have more than enough people who think smoking is bad and should be illegal, then they ban it and make it illegal because the majority of the people don't want it. But that's a democracy. That's not a republic. A republic is, I have a right to smoke. I have a right to do what I want to with my body. And no matter what you think of it, there's nothing you can do, because once you start taking away my rights, you open up the door for them to start taking other people's rights, in which case this is what happened to our country. You got these people in church who try to force religious laws on you. I'm not saying I don't believe in God. I understand the atheist point of view, but I'm not atheist. And you have a right to do whatever you want to do so long as you're not hurting anybody in a republic. Now this guy that made a nativity scene with zombies, that's freedom of speech. That's something that he should be able to do on his property. On his property. That is his right. In a republic, he can do that, and there's nothing you can do about it. In a democracy, mob rules. If the mob wants him to take it down in a democracy, then he has to take it down. And Another thing that happens, I say fuck a lot. Well, people don't like to hear the word fuck. So when you get a bunch of people that don't like to hear the word fuck, then they get together and they make it illegal to say fuck, or they make it very hard on you for using the word fuck. And then what happens is they shut you down. Saying the word fuck is actually freedom of speech, but you people have shit on it because you get offended by the word fuck. Why do you get offended by the word fuck? It does not say that saying curse words is a sin in your Bible. It says taking God's name in vain. A fuck is not taking God's name in vain. Fuck is an action. Fuck is what two people do. And fuck means oops. Or fuck means you're tired as shit. You know, fuck is an expression. But because majority rules, we have these restrictions on things that we could say. That started the reality of taking away our freedom of speech. When you start to offend people by what you say because they don't agree with you, then the mob rules and can take them rights from you. That is a democracy. A republic, you have a right to speak your mind. Now, you sit back and you pay your bills and you got your TV, and let's say I'm one of these people and I'm ignoring everything. Well, what happens is, I was telling Gina this, it's like the parents when they're sleeping. I did it when I was a kid. As long as my parents were in bed sleeping or at work, I felt this freedom to do whatever I wanted to do. And I could just do whatever I wanted to do, even if it was bad, it felt good at the time, or even if I made a mistake. But once my parents woke up, I had to stop. And sometimes I got caught when I went too far. Well, this is what we have, in this country and this society have done. We are so asleep into ourselves, our money, our possessions, our way of living. We close everything around us that we ain't involved in. We shut it down. This is where ignorance is bliss comes from. Everything around us that does not affect us, we shut it down around us, and we tend to ignore it so we can go about our business and be happy, because the reality is once the truth hits you, you're going to be upset. And this is true. When reality hit me, I was upset. It lasted about 2 weeks. I got over it. But ignorance is bliss, and not knowing what's going on allows the stupid people who are running the country and the government to do whatever they want. And, eventually the parents are going to wake up. Okay? And what they're trying to do, I don't know if they're trying to purposely wake people up to get us fighting or what it is that they're doing. But the stupid people are running free. And they're creating laws and doing all kinds of shit while you're sitting there being ignorant, a sleeping parent. And sooner or later, what they do is going to affect you. Now, when I was a kid, there was a couple of things I did, and my parents found out about it. Like, I threw a snowball at a van and hit the side of the van. Well, then the problem was brought to my parents, so they woke up. This is what's going to happen to you as an individual in a society that don't speak out. Eventually, they're going to come to you. And you can't stop this from happening by sitting on your ass. This is what they have done to me and many other people in the line of work that I do. This is your bread and butter. Now, this is what's going to happen. They will do what it takes to piss you off. I don't care who you are. It's coming. It's coming. In light of CDL accidents, okay, they tend to blame the individual and not the company. Okay, they have created laws that basically, there's this handbook that you get as a truck driver with all the driving rules and regulations, and you're expected to know it. What this does is it enables the government to enforce their laws and give you a ticket as an individual opposed to the company. Now, maybe many of you may sit there and argue with me or fight with me. I would argue with me and fight with me before I realized all that shit. Now, once you know all the rules and regulations, they now have a right to give you a ticket, not the company. It's all about protecting the company. The only time that you will not get a ticket, but you'll still receive the ticket in your name, is if you're overweight and they loaded you. Because the government sees it as though it's your responsibility to take that truck and weigh it or check it before you leave, therefore finding out if it's overweight or not. But if you refuse too many loads, you'll get fired, and there's not much you can do about it these days because we are asleep, because we worry about everything else besides what's going to happen to us when it comes down. They have just passed a bill because of, in lieu of these accidents, they're blaming fat people, people that are overweight, and they're blaming it on sleep apnea. Now, when I went to the doctor, he gave me a year certification when I'm supposed to get 2. He said because I'm fat and my neck is fat, he says that I have sleep apnea. I told him I do not have sleep apnea. He asked me these questions. Do I get tired during the day? Am I sleepy? Do I always feel fatigued? Do I always feel tired? I told him no, I don't. He asked me if I snore. I said no. He said, do you sleep with anybody? I said sometimes. He said, did they ever tell you you snore? I said no. I'm fine. He told me, well, you have sleep apnea. I said, no, I don't. So now I have to see a sleep apnea group, a sleep apnea study, and he gave me a year to lose at least 30 pounds, which would bring me down to 215. I have already lost 10. And, you know, it is a benefit to be healthy, but to be forced to be healthy or to infringe on my right or become prejudiced because I'm fat by your standards, heavy, obese, you are being racist. I'm going to lose my license if I don't lose this weight and go see a sleep apnea specialist because of racist people who don't want fat people behind the wheel. Now let me tell you something about these rules and regulations with driving. You're allowed to drive 11 straight hours. Once a week, you're allowed to drive 16. Now, in lieu of the 11 hours driving time, you're allowed to work a total of 14 hours a day. Okay? But 11 of them, you can't exceed 11 hours of driving time. Now, say you don't drive, but you work 14 straight hours, you cannot drive after that 14th hour. Now, say you drove 11 hours, now you can work 3 more hours. Physical work. You can't drive, but you can work. But you can't drive without a 10-hour off-duty status where you have to go home, eat, sleep. You only get 10 hours. Okay? So here's the dilemma. When you are an over-road truck driver, okay, I'm going to name some things. You get 10 hours off. Okay, you pull into a truck stop. You got to take your 10 hours off. You got to eat, take a bath, wind down, and then sleep. It gives you a better amount of sleep than somebody like me who is local. So you can get maybe, if you're lucky, if you're on the road, 8 hours sleep, which is good. But if you are like me and you get 10 hours off, and they work it to the max, it's 14 hours a day, 1 day a week you can work 16, 14 hours a day every day without the 16th hour still kills you, but you get 10 hours off. It takes me an hour to go from my home to work, and it takes me an hour to leave work and come home. So that's 2 hours, which knocks me down to 8. Now I got to take a shower. It's a half hour. Now I got to prepare a meal because I'm a single man who's not married, and I got to eat. Okay, that's another hour and a half, 2 hours. So that's 2 hours. That takes me down to 6. Now you figure most people, it takes them about an hour to fall asleep. Some people can go right to bed. But other people, not everybody's the same. It takes them an hour to fall asleep. That leaves me 5 hours. And then, God forbid, I have to get up early to go do something. You know, that's morning time too. You wake up, you have your coffee. Some people can do it in an hour. I want 2 hours to make my coffee. You know, sit down, read the paper, do the things that I have to do before I go to work, take a shower, whatever. That lessens my time down to actually 4 hours if I did this every day. I got to cut corners to make sure I get at least 5. So this is why people are falling asleep. It don't matter if you're obese. It don't matter if you have a big neck. They're working you to death. You can't tell them no, because our government gave them the right to work us 14 to 16 hours a day with only 10 hours off. I think it needs to be revised. I think local truck drivers, such as myself, should have different DOT rules and regulations. Many people will argue with me because they want the overtime. They're money whores. Well, here's the problem. Not everybody's the same. Not everybody's a money whore. You got to meet in the middle. I think it should be 12 hours a day, you know, and 10 hours off. That still gives you 60 hours a week, which we have as local drivers during the week with weekends off. Now, over-the-road drivers or people that are open 7 days a week have a 70-hour rule where they can work 70. You have to take 1 day off a week, which is a total of 34 consecutive hours to reset your clock so you can start all over at 0 and go from there to hit 60. Every 60 hours, you need a 34-hour restart. Every 6th and 7th day, whoever, if you follow the 60-hour rule or 70-hour rule, you know, and it's 7 days, you have to have a 34-hour restart, regardless if you hit 60 or 70 hours. They're working us to death. And instead of changing the laws to fit the job, the driver, they'd rather just say that we're fat and obese. Now, the over-the-road truck driver who only gets 10 hours off, and the local driver who only gets 10 hours off, who has to travel back and forth to work every day, how are they going to exercise? How are they going to exercise to keep this weight off? An over-the-road truck driver, it's got to be worse for them because they're sitting behind the wheel 11 hours straight. Then they get a 10-hour day, 10-hour off-duty status. How much of that time can they actually use to exercise, take a shower, eat, and relax? These laws are not made for us to protect us. These laws are made to protect the companies, and it allows them to overwork us. And if we tell them no, we can be fired. And it's only a matter of time before you get fired from enough jobs for saying no, nobody wants to hire you. We're fucked. So this is my dilemma. I have 1 year to lose 35 pounds, and I'm going to take it a step further, and I'm going to go down to 170. Right now I am at 227. I'm going to try and get down to 170, and then I'll start exercising again like I did, and this time I'm not going to stop. I'm going to get the ACLU involved if I can. I'm going to write them a letter. I'm going to try getting in touch with them because this is racist. All these people, it's not just me. There's a lot of truck drivers. Look around. Go to a truck stop. Go to Kmart. Go to Wally World. Go somewhere and just look at all the obese people. Most of them are truck drivers. And these truck drivers, they have kids they're pushing through college. They have bills they got to pay. They got houses. They're paying mortgages. They lose their job, they're going to lose all this. And a lot of them is going to be very hard for them to lose all this weight. And just when you thought the country could get better, they find ways to make it worse. And until our government stops working for the corporations and starts working for the people, it's going to get worse. And by sitting there on your couch, pushing your remote, changing the channel on the television, not worrying about what's going on outside your little bubble, It's until you can stop doing that and start seeing what things are and start communicating to people what's going on, it's going to keep getting worse. Once everybody knows and it comes to light, these people will be cornered. And they will have no answers for anybody, and they will be forced to change the laws. On the other hand, we could end up having a civil war, which is what they're doing with these riots over these black deaths. Let me tell you something about these cops. They want to hurt everybody. They don't care if you're white, black, Hispanic, Chinese. They don't care. These cops are on a power trip, and if you don't want to listen to them or you know your rights, they want to beat your ass. It don't matter what color you are. It really don't. But you get Al Sharpton that goes down there and makes it all about black. Everybody's making it all about black. You go on the internet, you can find all kinds of white people that got their ass beat by cops. You know? And these people that are agitating the situation that are black, putting their fucking hands up. Dude, this is everybody. It's not just fucking black people. I'm in support against police brutality. And I think these cops need a refresher like us truck drivers do every year on laws. We have a refresher once a year on laws, and we're not even cops. And we have to be updated on laws. I think the cops have to be updated. I think the cops should have to go to school and then have refresher courses on law and self-defense. Obviously, some of these cops are pussy, and they're fast with fucking drawing their gun because they don't know how to fight. I think maybe they should go into training. If you want to be a cop, then you need to know how to defend yourself. And I think that you should take classes to defend yourself instead of using a fucking gun. Well, I gotta go. I gotta go to the store. Peace out. I'll talk to you. I'll post this on YouTube and share it on Facebook.